Commanders aren't getting the message. They're not getting it right. And so until you have transparency and accountability and actually listen to the survivors that say the reason why they're not reporting is that they don't trust the chain of command will do anything, or they fear or have witnessed retaliation. Until you take that seriously, you are not going to be able to fix the problem.
New York Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand needs to be lauded for her efforts combating sexual assault in the military, pushing hard for her years-long effort aimed at reforming what some see as a very inadequate policy. But one must always be careful what one wishes for, as some who know how the system works fear she could be inadvertently making things worse for all concerned. Let's get some facts. Our guest is a former chief prosecutor in the United States Air Force, now president of Protect Our Defenders, the group he left the military to join, devoted to reforming the justice system he served. Welcome Don Christensen to MidPoint. Don, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Don, what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you as a military prosecutor where you said, that's it, I'm out, I can do better on the outside?
It was the Wilkerson case, which was an Aviano Air Base case where the commander overturned a conviction of a fighter pilot.
And you were and correct me if I'm wrong, you were the prosecutor on that. And what was it about that overturn? What was it about the case that made you say, this is absolutely wrong, this shouldn't have happened?
All right, so yeah, I was a prosecutor in that case. We got conviction of Colonel Wilkerson by a jury of 5 senior officers. I know that they had no problems convicting him of that offense. And then that case was overturned by a 3-star general, General Franklin, based upon his belief that Colonel Wilkerson was a good guy. It told me that the system just wasn't fair.
Let's talk about fair here, because you will hear, and you have, members of the military who will say the military chain of command must remain in effect. However, there are others like Kirsten Gillibrand who say that it is time. We have to change that, and we need an outside agency. What's gone wrong when it's been done for so many years that the military chain of command now needs to be junked?
Well, I would say this is actually historical that we've had problems with the chain of command. In the past, we're concerned about how the chain of command abused those accused, and now we're more concerned about protecting victims. The reality is that we need independent professional prosecutors to make these decisions. The complexity of crimes are just too great to be having legal novices make these decisions.
According to the RAND Corporation report, military sexual assault is down 27%. Now, what about those people who would say, excuse me, Don, what we're doing right now is working. We don't need any further reforms.
Well, in 2012, the numbers were 26,000. In 2010, it was 20,000. In 2014, it's 20,000. It's always above 20,000. So I would say when you have 20,000 sexual assaults each year, as the military is getting smaller, by the way, that's just too many people. That's 20,000 people we're not taking care of.
We have a number of people, including Cully Stimson, and I'm holding this in my hand right now, who's one of the individuals pushing for the fact, and he's an expert in criminal law, Heritage Foundation Center for Legal and Judicial Studies. He says that what Kirsten Gillibrand is pushing would be absolutely wrong. It would strip commanders of the ability to enforce good order and discipline in their units. How do you react when you hear that?
Okay, so the way I react to that is that's patently false. Senator Gillibrand's bill only affects the power of less than 3% of commanders, general court-martial convening authorities. 97% of our commanders in the military will have exactly the same powers they have today under the Military Justice Improvement Act. This is really about making the decision which cases go to trial and whether that should be a general officer or a seasoned prosecutor.
Then why are they fighting this? It would seem that what Kirsten Gillibrand is doing, what you're doing, makes absolute sense and it needs to be done, yet they continue to fight. It would seem, if you just look at it on the surface, that it's a cover-up. They want to make sure that somebody's getting away with it and somebody is, quite frankly, not doing their job.
Well, I would say this, that DOD has a tradition of opposing any kind of reform, whether it was integration of African Americans, integration of women, integration of gays and lesbians, and now military justice reform. And every time they've used the same thing. This will affect good order and discipline if we do it. And every time they've been wrong. African Americans served honorably today, and we couldn't fight our wars without them, because we ignored those generals who said it would kill good order and discipline to have them in the service.
So then, the system for dealing with sexual assault, when did it go wrong?
I think it went wrong when as a society, we started taking sexual assault more seriously, and we understood what it meant to prosecute sexual assault. It is a very complex thing to do. You know, I did it for 23 years. The toughest cases by far are sexual assault cases. And leaving it to commanders to make these decisions is just the wrong thing to do. It would be like having a commander going into the operating room and telling the surgeon where to cut. It's ludicrous to have professionals to do this.
The group is called Protect Our Defenders, and Don, if you don't mind, we're going to stay in touch with you here because this is a case that needs a lot of attention. It's not getting it in the overall media. We'd like to follow up on that. I thank you for your time. We will be in touch and continue the good fight.
Thank you.
All right, it's my pleasure. Take care. Coming up next on MidPoint, let's learn the downside of smoking pot when you're not on the job. They're finding out in Colorado. Stay with us. It's next.